Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to understand what happens when Rahu is placed in Swathi nakshatra. So basically, this is a unique karmic pattern. I'm using the word karmic because Rahu and Ketu are the heavy karmic planets. So whenever we try to discuss something about Rahu, we frequently use the word karmic. And if you see Swathi nakshatra, it is in the middle of Libra, and the ruler of this nakshatra is also Rahu, the planetary ruler. So basically it is a Rahu's nakshatra, right? And Rahu is placed in Swathi nakshatra in your horoscope. What does that mean then? And basically, whenever you're talking about Rahu in Swathi nakshatra, we talk about Vayu, the god of wind. And the symbol of this particular Swathi nakshatra is a kind of young plant. The symbolism generally means that Swathi nakshatra people are a bit immature in nature. At least in the initial part of their life, they are immature. And also they are very, very independent by nature. They are flexible, scattered at growing. That is the word we always use. So basically, because of their independent nature, they may face some kind of problems in their life. That is the first and fundamental thing with Swathi energy people I'm talking about. So they are basically self-moving, independent. So Swathi nakshatra is always about freedom. It is always about independence, always about movement. That's where the Vayu energy, Vayu means the wind. Wind always flows. It never stops. Wind always wants some kind of freedom, right? So even when somebody is over independent, having over freedom, we compare that person also with wind, right? So this is what happens with Rahu in the Swathi energy, case. And Swathi is very famous for trading and networking, and also learning through experience. They always learn through experience. And generally, the Swathi energy people they gain self-made success in their life. So that is the prominent energy that you can see in Swathi energy people. And here Rahu is sitting in the Swathi nakshatra in a horoscope. That means Rahu is in its own nakshatra. This is very important because Rahu is sitting in its own nakshatra, so its power becomes very strong. The Rahu's energy is much more prominent here. So whatever energy the Swathi is emanating, all those energies, most of the energies, when they are filtered out by Rahu, they are almost coming out. 100% is coming out. Rahu is going to exhibit all of its capabilities in Swathi energy because both are similar energies. So the people having Rahu and Swathi, their desires are amplified fundamentally because Rahu represents desires and Swathi energy is also related to Rahu's energy. So the desires become amplified. So independence becomes extreme, I can say. And so this placement creates a person who does not like control. You cannot control this particular personality. So let us say you got a horoscope and you're seeing Rahu is in the Swathi nakshatra, then understand that you cannot control this person. It's very, very difficult to control this kind of personalities. They are over independent. They are just like wind, right? So, and they want to define their own path. You cannot define their path, even though you are a father figure of that particular person, or you can be anything. You might be doing a lot of good things for that particular person, but you cannot define the path of that particular person because it is a kind of over independent energy person you're seeing before you, right? So you cannot control, you cannot define this particular person's path, because Rahu is in the Swathi nakshatra for this particular person. And they're always ready to break the traditional systems, because they don't want to depend on something. If you are rigid about something, they are going to break it. And these people learn through trial and error method, right? Because they don't want to learn from a traditional system. If you try to tell a fact based on some tradition, based on some regular system, they may not follow it. They say, yes, you might be saying something, but I want to experience it. Based on my experience, I'm going to define it. It's not you are going to define it. I am going to define it based on my experience. They say like this. So they always learn through trial and error because of over-independent energy. And as you know, Rahu is always about illusion and obsession. They may confuse freedom with isolation. So these people have a kind of confusion in their life, right, about freedom and isolation. In between these two, they confuse. Because as a person is going over-independent, people may not follow this particular person at some point of time, at least in some areas of life at least. And what happens is the person becomes isolated, obviously, because this person has some kind of independent views. They're not just independent views, they're over independent views. Then and the person is defining his own path, is not interested to go in a traditional path or a regular path followed by millions of people. Then what happens is there are high chances that this particular personality can become isolated at some point of time in life. So they think about this in their life, that okay, millions of people went that way, but I did not like that way, or I did not prefer the traditional system. Now I followed a different path, my own path. Now I became isolated. Is what I did was kind of, it's I followed my freedom or I followed isolation. This is the question that they got. They can generally get. I want to tell you, right? So, and as they are following independent path, they are like wind. You can say they chase success for sure. They can be successful in terms of, in their own path, they can be successful. But this confusion between freedom and isolation, they can definitely experience at some point of time. And they are windy, right? They just they flow like anything, and they follow their own path. So they continuously, it's a kind of restless process, right? Somebody defining his own path and following it, and just seeing the others are following a different path and going in some direction, leading some kind of life, a comfortable life, and then this person is not following the traditional system, defining his own path, over independent, and continuously chasing the success in his own path. Just see this process. This whole process is a bit stressful, right? So it's a kind of restlessness that this person can experience, because the others are following some traditional system and leading some comfortable life, a defined life. But this person, having Rahu in Swathi nakshatra, defining his own path, having a lot of freedom, chasing the success endlessly, and of course can be successful. Most of the times they are successful. But see the whole process. Isn't it very stressful? So I say this particular placement, having this particular placement, the people feel restless even after achievement, even after achieving what they wanted. Now they just think once, okay, I am successful now. I achieved what I wanted to achieve, but now I'm feeling the whole thing, the whole process is very, very restless, right? And this particular people, when they are in their childhood, just if you observe these people, they are different from family. In their family, in the childhood itself, you can observe them, they look a bit differently. Means not in terms of looks, in terms of their behavior, in terms of the things that they do, kind of different, because they do not fit in the traditional expectations. That's where you can see they are a bit different, and they have strong desire to prove self. Because they are independent, they just and Rahu represents the desire. So the desire is a doubled desire, I would say. It's not a regular desire. And even in the teenager youth, when you observe them, there's a kind of rebelliousness you can observe in them, because they break rules. They don't want to fit in that regular a traditional system. So they want to experiment. Even with their identity, they want to experiment. And they may want to change the career interests also, often, sometimes, right? Often they do it. They change career interests as well, because they want to experiment. They are independent. They do not want to follow the traditional regular sheep system. They do not want it, basically. And even in the midlife, if I try to observe them, so this is the point. This midlife is where people gain maturity, right? So obviously, these people having Rahu in Libra would also get some maturity. Now they learn some kind of diplomacy. They are independent. They are over independent. They don't want to follow the traditional system, but previously they were rebellious. When they were young, they were rebellious. They were trying to they were trying to tell it openly that they wanted to break the rules. They do not want to follow the regular system. They would tell it openly when they were in that teenage. But now in the midlife, they get some maturity, and now they learn some kind of diplomatic behavior. Obviously, this placement is very good for business, no doubt. Business, marketing, foreign connections. It's a very good placement, especially in the midlife, when they understood the world, right? And they know that even though they do not want to follow the traditional system, they should not tell it openly. Instead, they can follow their rules independently, but for outer world, they have to say something convincing, right? So that is what is called as diplomacy. They learned that diplomacy so they generally learn by midlife. By midlife, they learn this diplomacy. So obviously, if these people are in business by their midlife, the midlife is very good for them, in terms of business, marketing, and foreign connections. Because Rahu is foreign connection, and Rahu in Swathi is a kind of double impact of this foreign connection. And they can develop very good negotiation skills also in midlife. And the moment they are evolving, they become masters of networking. Now they understood the world, they know how to speak and what to do, right? What to do and what to tell. They know this trick. So the international influence, they can build some kind of international influence, because by experimenting, they learn the world, basically. They can build something independent also after midlife. So, but if this particular energy is not evolved much, let us say some planet is watching this Rahu and Swathi, some Saturn is watching with its third aspect, or with its some 10th aspect, or some 7th aspect. This Rahu is watched by uh, right, some Mars or some Saturn. Then what happens? This becomes a kind of unevolved Rahu, right? His Rahu is not so good here. So something like the person experiments with everything, but ultimately cannot achieve something great. Or it can turn to be, this Rahu in Swathi can turn to be a kind of addiction to some freedom, addiction to something. Or the person would not settle anywhere. He would change jobs multiple times and never settle down. So this person having Saturn or Mars aspect on Rahu, which is sitting in the Swathi nakshatra, that person is the perfect person to do a lot of remedies. He has to do remedies. And Rahu and Swathi is very much good for import and export business, international business, or trading, or stock markets, or aviation, because of lot of windiness, right? Because a lot of windiness you can observe. Rahu and Swathi is full of wind, right? And even digital businesses that involving this advanced technology like internet or anything, any advanced technology, because Rahu itself is that out of the box technology. And diplomacy, anything involving diplomacy, these people are very good. And law, because Libra is law, and Rahu and Swathi, they know how to talk outside and what to do inside, what to do. By midlife, these lawyers are, very, very, can earn a lot of money as well. And social media influence they can create. So basically, any self-made experiment, right? People doing self-made experiments, having this placement, they can achieve something great in life. And as we're talking about Swathi, which is sitting in the middle of Libra, which is the sign of relationships, we have to talk about relationships, because Libra is the sign of relationships. So these people, as Rahu is sitting in the Swathi nakshatra, they want relationship. Obviously, they have to, because Rahu is desire, Swathi is relationships, Libra is relationships. Obviously, they want relationship, but they also want freedom. So because of that, they may delay marriage and attract some foreign or unconventional partner. Or they need more space. They want relationship, but I am in relationship with you. At the same time, I want my own space, because I want to be very, very independent, right? So if things work in that way, that is okay. If the partner tries to control this particular personality, obviously relationship breaks, because they give a lot of importance to that independent nature, that freedom, because that is the freedom, the independent nature is defining them. The moment the partner is controlling this personality, obviously the relationship breaks. They do not want this relationship anymore. See, I don't want this relationship anymore, because I want freedom. I want to be over independent. That is my first priority. Relationship is my second priority. Of course, I want relationship. I have a lot of desire to be in relationship. That is typical Swathi nakshatra energy, right? This Swathi is defined by that independent nature. And as Rahu is also sitting here, just imagine how much importance they would give to the independent nature, the freedom. After that only they give importance to relationship. If somebody controls in the relationship, they break it. No doubt. So here there's a problem for them. If some Jupiter is watching this Rahu, at least they would learn in their life, right, how to balance this independent nature with some relationship, how to balance these two. If that balance they can only achieve if this Rahu is watched by some good planet. Now, Rahu also indicates some kind of past life, So it's kind of it's a kind of it's a continuation of some pattern, I would say. Rahu is in Swathi in your horoscope because in your previous life, uh, you know, you did something with independence. So it is another chance given to you, or kind of your soul wants to learn some balanced freedom, maybe in this life, or freedom without selfishness in this life, or independence without ego, right? Rahu teaches it basically. See, because you are becoming over independent, you may think the statements just now I passed are a bit conflicting to whatever we discuss now. But see, what I'm trying to tell you here is, as Rahu is in the Swathi nakshatra, you were becoming over independent. So when a person is over independent, what happens? Because of this behavior, he would lose something, right? So till what time he would be over independent? He is over independent in childhood, engaged, midlife, after midlife, but at some point of time, let us say after midlife, at the age of 50, 60, now this person just thinks, okay, because of my over independent nature, because of my over freedom, I lost this, I lost this, I lost this. Isn't it a great lesson for this particular soul? Right? So now the soul learned, in this life, the soul learned, okay, balanced freedom is what is required in life. Okay, freedom without selfishness is what is required in this life. Okay, independence without ego is what is required in this life. This is the learning for this particular person in this life. Maybe, see, he might be learning it at the age of 50 or 60, doesn't matter. The only thing is whether he learned it or not, right? It's a great lesson for this particular person. Maybe because of this over independent nature, he has broken the relationship. He might be breaking any kind of relationship, even though it's a first marriage or second marriage, or first love or second love or third love, whatever may be the relationship. But now, at the age of 50, now this person is understanding, okay. Oh, my dear soul, understand this fact, right? Because of your over freedom, you have given lot of importance to your ego, your selfishness. You broke all the relationships. Now, at least, my dear soul, learn this. You can have selfishness, you can have ego, you can have freedom, but maintain some balance. Otherwise, relationships would be broken. It's a kind of spiritual karma, right? So it's something like the lesson learned can be, move everywhere. You have freedom, you have a lot of over independent nature. Just like wind, move everywhere, but do not harm anybody, right? You're in a relationship, that means you have to respect the other person as well, because the other person also has ego, other person also has some selfishness, some kind of self-respect the other person also have. It's not only your life, my dear, right? So the soul learns this particular thing in this life. So learning this balance is what this soul can learn in this life. So this is what I want to explain about this. So what I want to tell you is, just check if you are restless, you're burnout because of you're defining your own path, moving like anything in this path. Your energies are very much scattered. Check if you are having this kind of problems. Then you have to perform some remedies for Rahu, and there's so many remedies, like you can chant Hanuman Chalisa, you can pray Lord Hanuma, you can do Shiva Abhisheka, you can do Panchayatana Puja, You can, Lord Shiva, you can pray, especially as we're talking about Swathi nakshatra. The moment you talk about Swathi nakshatra, we talk about Lord Hanuma, we talk about Bhimasena, who is in Mahabharata. But Lord Hanuma is treated as much more, a godly figure. So better you chant Hanuman Chalisa. So if this Rahu energy is working, better, of course you can become adaptive, strategic, independent. You can become master of moment. And even if some Jupiter is watching your Rahu, a blessing for you, that's where you can have some balanced freedom. But some Saturn or Mars is watching your Rahu sitting in Swathi nakshatra, just see, right, the kind of ego you have, the kind of escapism you may have, or if your energies are scattered or you're becoming restless over the years. So check on these lines. If you're having this kind of problems, having some Saturn or Mars watching you, because Saturn, Mars, whether they are functionally benefic or functionally malefic for your horoscope, their aspects are always treated as a bit malefic only in Vedic astrology. So if Rahu or Mars is your Saturn or Mars watching your Rahu sitting in Swathi, it's a kind of malefic aspect. So work on that. You have to perform some remedies for sure. If Jupiter is watching, whether Jupiter is functionally benefic or malefic, Jupiter aspect is always good. That's where you will gain. You will learn balanced freedom at the early age itself. It's a kind of good thing, I would say. And Jupiter is watching it. So this is the overall picture I can feel with Rahu and Swathi nakshatra. Thanks for watching this video.